Hello, everyone. This is hold on. I'm having a hard time. Edit. I'm trying to add Periscope. Remove. Add. Save changes. Yeah, we're good. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. I here. Welcome to another live training, and we are going to discuss how to future-proof your children and what parents need to know. And I am live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Periscope, and on YouTube. And if you are live with me right now, let me know where you are joining me live from, social media-wise and geographically speaking. I guess I'm really having a hard time going live on Periscope. So let's just do the other channels. And I have been doing this training for quite a few weeks. And parents, they told me they love the training. And there's also a workbook that comes with this training and almost 30 pages. I cited quite a few powerful studies in terms of what parents need to know to get their children ready for the future. I also poke holes at the traditional educational system. If you are an ambitious parent, if you are forward thinking, if you are thinking ahead of the game, you definitely will need to get a copy of this workbook and check out quite a few of the studies I mentioned in the workbook. They are going to open your eyes, open your heart to make you think differently about the current state of our education. And so this training is going to be a little bit longer, and that will be almost an hour. I have a lot to say about this topic, but I promise you that I'm going to drop lots of value. And so you will love this. Let me see if I'm live on LinkedIn. And again, if you are live with me right now, and let me know in the comment section. We already have. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Everyone, thank you so much. And I actually also prepared slides for this. So I'm going to start my sharing my screen in a second. And again, if you have any question you want me to answer, please let me know. And I'm going to answer your questions. And we are talking about future proof. And you are going to walk away from today's live training with a much deeper understanding of the current state of education, not just in the United States, but almost like globally speaking. And what are the missing links? I will share with you the top 5 secrets based on my 10 plus years teaching experience and working with different brands and different schools and parents. So you are going to discover those 5 secrets that will help you learn how you should educate your children better, and so that your children can become ready for the future. And let's get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So let's get started. Let me share my screen right now. Let me know which country you are joining me live from. Let me share my screen. And again, I promise you, I'm going to drop so much value in today's live training. And feel free to come back, take a bathroom break, a water break, and bring your notebook with you. I have a lot to share with you. And so if this is the first time that you hear me speak, my name is AI, and I'm the founder of Classroom Without Walls. I grew up in China, and I came to the US in my early 20s, I think 22, and to study. I went to Syracuse University. I got my master's degree. I then went to University of Maryland. I got my PhD. Both of them are in the United States. I worked with more than 2,000 students to bring them life fulfillment and career success. And I love being silly with my students. We organize quite a number of events. And I also serve as an Adobe education leader and a HubSpot. Actually, at my school, Classroom Without Walls, we use a number of Adobe tools. Even though you are not a graphic designer, I highly recommend this one. which is called Adobe Spark. Let me know in the comment section if you have ever heard of this. Adobe Spark, my son, my own children, my older kid started using Adobe Spark when he was 6 years old. So really amazing, really easy to use. If you have no idea how to use that, let me know in the comment section. I have a separate training video. And so I also serve as a HubSpot Academy instructor. I love working with them. My work got featured on Forbes, Today Show, and Inside Higher Education, Pearson Education. And last year, I'm really honored. I got voted as one of the top 25 socially influential learning professional of the year. Really, really honored. Give me a heart for this. And here are a few additional places that my work classroom without walls got featured. I also speak on stage and I talk about social media, live streaming. I also work with other brands and the schools to help them understand social media and creative technology and how they can apply them to their classrooms to help prepare students for the 21st century. And on this picture was last year, and I gave a keynote at an event high school in South Korea. And here is my son. Last year, he was 7 years old in the audience taking pictures for me. And most importantly, I'm a mom. My life's calling is education. So my children are my biggest motivation to do what I do today. So at this point, you are probably thinking, hey, you just shared quite a few slides with us. I think your life is pretty good, right? If that is what you are thinking right now, my friend, that is far away from the case. And this is please do not take a screenshot of this picture right now. I'm quite embarrassed to share this with you, but this picture really illustrated where I was a few years ago after I got started on my teaching career. And I was pretty depressed and I cried so much every single semester. Again, please do not take a screenshot of this picture. I will feel really, really embarrassed if this really went public. So let me stop screen sharing and come back to here. And so that picture you just saw and really represented my life a few years ago. And after I got started on my teaching career, every semester I cried so much. And I cried with my students. I also cried for my students. I cried with my students because they are very, very miserable to be in the classroom. I'm not just talking about my class. I'm talking about classes in general. They don't want to be in the class. The only thing they cared about is a GPA, how many A's, a specific score, right? The question I heard a lot from my students is, hey, Dr. I, will this be on the exam? And I heard that so much, and I decided to eliminate all of my exams. And so there were actually no exams in my class. And then I started to hear my students ask me, hey, Dr. I, if I go to your event, I always invite guest speakers, tech speakers, really amazing thought leaders to come to my classes. And my students come to me and ask me, Dr. I, if I go to your event, will I get a point? I was like, wow, learning has become for me, and learning has become equivalent to GPA, to academic performance. And if you are a teacher, I don't know, let me know if any of you is a teacher. Hey, thank you for joining me live on LinkedIn everywhere. And if you are a teacher, like you know that the reason that you become a teacher is not because your students cared so much about, GPA, how many A's, how many points am I going to receive. The reason for me to become a teacher is actually to see the spark in my students' eyes. And the fact that they were excited about learning for the sake of learning. And guess what? I don't see anything like that And that's why I cried with my students, especially the last several years. Oh, thank you so much. We have quite a few people here. Hello, everyone. We're talking about future-proof your children, what parents need to know, and also educators need to know. And especially the last several years, and mental health has become a big issue. Almost every single semester, I have students who call me over Facebook Messenger or Snapchat or Instagram, whatever they use, and just cry and telling me how stressed they are and how much uncertainty they have in regard of their future. I don't know what to do. I literally cried with my students. So they were miserable and I was miserable. And I also cried for my students because I know how unprepared, okay? This might be a big shocker, and I'm going to share a few reasons to show you why students are being unprepared through their college or traditional educational degrees. And actually last year, and hey everyone, so happy to see you guys. There's actually a workbook that comes with this live training, almost 30 pages, free. And if you want to get a copy of the workbook, let me know in the comment section. So last year, there is a very comprehensive study that came out saying that 73, more than half % of organizations, they actually struggle with funding qualified college grads. That's a very high percentage. And at the same time, last year, there's another study. And again, in my workbook, I have the links to all the studies I mentioned. So last year, there's another study that came out saying, and they cited lots of research, that students, they don't have the soft and the hard skills to be ready for the future, right? So on the one hand, colleges are organizations are struggling with funding qualified college grads. At the same time, our schools, our so-called education is not helping our students develop those skills. So that has become very concerning to me. And at the same time, a few years ago, I became a mom. You saw my pictures earlier, 2 young children. And I noticed what I was observing in my own undergraduate classes, I started to see at home on my own children. And a few years ago, my older son, back then he was about 7 years old, and he told us, Mommy, Daddy, I don't want to go to school. School is so boring. I'm not learning anything. I don't like it. I don't feel engaged. I was like, wow, that is very interesting. What is happening? In my undergraduate classes, I'm seeing the same thing on my own children. And that, again, really hurts me a lot because I knew how much my children loved learning. When they were young, they were so inquisitive, they're so curious, they just love life. They go out, they explore, they love learning. And then, my 7 years old, 6 years old told me, I don't want to go to school. I, again, very concerned. And so as a result of those frustrations or concerns, and I became obsessed. I became really obsessed with our education crisis. I call this a crisis because so much research has shown this. And I was like, instead of complaining, becoming a victim, I asked myself, as a mom, as an educator, what can I do to alleviate the situation? What can I do to solve the problem? And I made two very important decisions in life. And those two decisions changed my life. And the first decision that I made is I became a practitioner. And I have my PhD, I have all the degrees, but I don't have any professional experience. And I was like, wow, I need to become a practitioner. So I was teaching public relations classes, communication classes, and later, as social media has become a lot more popular, I started to teach social media classes. So I finally started to practice what I was teaching in the classroom. I started to be really active on Twitter, on different social media channels, and which eventually really helped me build my brand visibility, and eventually led to my resignation. And so that decision changed my life, becoming a practitioner. And the second important decision, life-changing decision I made was that I became a student again. And, after I got my PhD, we call that, a doctorate degree, a terminal degree. I was like, wow, the end of my life, the end of my learning life, I don't have to learn anymore. So it really took me quite a few years to realize that model and the so-called terminal degree is wrong. No degree is terminal. We all have to become lifelong learners, lifelong students. So I became a student again. I started to go to conferences, not just academic conferences, but mainstream industry conferences. I started reading books again and listening to podcasts and talking and interviewing industry experts. And I became a student again, as a result of this obsession. And I made those two important decisions: become a student again, become a practitioner again, learning what is going on in today's education space, what are the future-ready skills and knowledge that our students need to acquire, and what are some of the problems in education, and what can we do about that. So as a result of this obsession and becoming a student and becoming a practitioner, and also at the same time I started to become a consultant, started working with different brands and different schools to coach them. So combining all of those things, I discovered five important secrets or trends that parents need to understand, or educators need to understand, if they want to help their children become future ready. And I'm about to share. Oh, hey, Alice. Hello, everyone. Let me say hi to you guys. And those 5 secrets that I'm about to share with you will open your mind and open your heart, and will make you think a lot differently about the traditional education, what is working and what is not working, and therefore you need to supplement those gaps, to close the gaps on your own. And again, for those of you who just joined us live, I have a workbook that comes with today's live training, almost 30 pages, lots of powerful studies and numbers. And if you want to get a copy of the workbook, make sure you enter workbook in the comment section, and I will send a copy of my workbook to you. Okay, so are you ready? If you are liking this right now, tag friends or parents, educators who can benefit from this live training, and share this, give me some hearts. And so let's get started to dive into the core of today's training. So the first secret is, are you ready? I have my notes with me. Secret number 1. I'm running out of space. So let me remove this. I don't know if you guys can see this. And so the secret number 1 is, the first one is, academic learning is only the tip of the iceberg. And I have, the last year or so, I have had so many conversations with parents. And so when they come to me, hey, Dr. I, what do I need to do to help my own children be ahead of the game, and to be ready for the future, and to be ready for life, to be ready for work? What do I need, So their very immediate concern is, how many degrees do I need? Should my children get a master's degree or PhD certification, this and that? it is all good, but I want to tell you, to become ready for the future, to become ready for life, you need a lot more than academic-based learning. It's really only the tip of the iceberg. Okay, so here is a very famous learning and development model that I want to share with you. I don't know how many of you have heard of this. This is really well known in learning and leadership development. It's also a framework that I use to develop my own school, Classroom Without Walls. And so this one is called 70, 20, 10. I don't know if you can see clearly. Let me know in the comment section if you have heard of this. 70, 20, 10. Let's try a different color. So what this model or this framework talks about is for our children, right, where they are today to where they want to be, the future. Point A is where they are today to point B, which is their future. There has to be a bridge. There has to be a journey. And so this journey is the 70, 20, 10 model. Let me erase this so I can explain this better to you. Because understanding this is very important, and I see this as a big missing link in many parents' education, especially right now. Everyone is doing homeschooling. If you do not understand this framework, and you are going to miss the bigger picture. So 70, 20, 10 model, from point A to point B, right? From the zero stage to the hero stage, okay? So becoming their own hero. So they need 10%. That 10% is formal learning. Like what you are doing right now, watching me going live to teach you something. But if you do not take any action regarding what I'm so passionate about, talking about right now, I think you can leave. Because that is only 10% to result in like fundamental transformation. Okay, so that's 10%. Think about it, right? Most schools, what do they focus on? The 10%. I'm not saying the 10% is not important. To grow in life, to be ready for life, we need knowledge. There's no question about that, right? Watching a video, joining a webinar, reading a book, watching whatever, taking a class, whatever you do. Very, very, very important. I'm not saying that it's not important, okay? But that's only 10%, okay? So what's the 20%? Anyone know the 20%? So 20% is social learning. And so that's why I will talk about this in a few minutes. That's why I am against, if your children right now, everyone is homeschooling right now, if they are only watching pre-recorded video, I hate to tell you this, they are wasting their time. And watching pre-recorded video like in their room may lead to short-term memory, but definitely not long-term transformation. And what you want in your children is long-term transformation. And that's to happen, you need a social component. Have a learning community, be a part of the community, and working with mentors, working with coaches, more hand-holding. Hey, not just, hey, Johnny, watch this video, everything will be fine. That's not enough. You need a human component to help little Johnny digest information. And what's the biggest piece? Anyone give this a guess? The 70%? Anyone in the live audience will share with me? So the 70% is, guess what? Learning in real life, learning on the job, learning through experience, learning through challenges, through mistakes, and experiential learning by co-op, internship, all of those things. They are important because let me share this with you. Are you ready? Information does not lead to transformation. What does? application does lead to transformation. Okay, so if you are a parent now, if you think that the only thing I need to do for my children to be ready for the future is I just put my kid in front of a computer and watch a bunch of pre-recorded videos, you are just checking the box. You are just checking the box of being a homeschooler, checking the box of whatever, chemistry 101, physics 101, public speaking 101. Nobody can learn how to cook or how to start a live streaming show by sitting in the classroom, digital classroom or physical classroom. You need all of them, okay? The 70% makes a big difference. So that's my very first secret, and I have 5 secrets to share with you. I think I need to hurry up a little bit. So the first one is academic learning is only the tip of the iceberg, okay? Again, if you are loving this, give me some hearts. And please tag friends or parents, educators who can benefit from this, and make sure you get a copy of my workbook. Let me know in the comment section. So that's secret number 1. The second one was actually very shocking to me. Do you know so much research has shown that emotional intelligence and so-called soft skills, they are actually 2 times more predictive of a person's long-term success than IQ. Let me repeat that again, because so many parents, educators, including myself, we missed this like a big time. Emotional intelligence and so-called soft skills, they are 2 times more predictive of a person's lifelong success than IQ. And again, most students, when they go to school, when they talk to their parents, hey, when the kid comes back home, like, how did you do at school? And the way for us to evaluate their school performance is academic score, right? If your kid got an F or D, you became really concerned. But what you need to do is to go deeper, why this is happening, right? And also to expand your horizon beyond the intellectual performance, beyond academic performance. And I have some really powerful study to share with you, and I talk about all of them in my workbook. Just a quick study. And as AI, artificial, not my name, but almost like my name, right? As artificial intelligence and technology become more and more prevalent in our society, guess what? There is an increasing demand for human skills. As AI becomes more popular, there's also an increasing demand for human skills. Interesting, right? So human skills based on, I think this one is from McKinsey, and they listed such human skills, including communication. Feel free to take notes, okay? Communication, listening, critical thinking, and interpersonal skills, okay? And similarly, I hope you're loving this. And similarly, and LinkedIn Learning, I love LinkedIn Learning. So LinkedIn Learning published a similar article the beginning of this year, and they listed a number of soft skills that companies want and they need in 2020, but they are having a hard time identifying those people who have those soft skills. So what are those soft skills? Creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, and emotional intelligence. Okay, and I want to share, let me share my screen. See, I'm like really prepared. Oh, this way. So here, and so this is the one. Again, when you have a copy of my workbook, I talked about this. I have the link in my workbook. You can check out this really powerful study. And so global talent trends. And in that report, they listed 4 major trends transforming today's workplace. Guess what is number 1? Number one is soft skills, right? And I personally think soft skills should not be labeled as soft skills. They are actually powerful skills and hard skills that we need. So that point also illustrates what I mentioned earlier. Emotional intelligence is twice, and soft skills, they are twice more predictive of a person's success. So if you are a parent, and if you are here right now, I'm sure you really care about your children's future, right? Or if you are an educator, you care about your students' success in life. And this is my calling to you. And IQ important, but also, if we want our children to be ready for the future, there has to be ways that you intentionally create activities or curriculum, real life challenges to help our children cultivate those emotional and soft skills that I mentioned earlier. Okay, that's secret number 2. And secret number 3 is, again, this was really shocking to me when I just discovered. Okay, and digital natives does not mean digitally savvy. Okay, this is what I mean by that. When you look at the young generation, many of them, they have grown up with technology, the internet, smartphone, iPad, all those digital devices. And it's a big mistake that many educators and many parents and many school leaders, they assume digital natives, they know everything about digital technology. They know everything about the social media. They know everything about technology. It is only true to a certain extent. And they know how to, they know how to take a selfie. They know how to send a message to their best friend. But they have no idea how to use social media, for example, to do what I'm doing right now, to start a live streaming show, to actually share my knowledge, to educate my audience, to share my story. And they have no idea how to do that. They have no idea how to do digital networking, which is becoming more and more important. Digital networking, how to be on LinkedIn, how to send people a meaningful connection request, and how to network, how to follow different hashtags, how to identify influencers, how to cultivate the meaningful connections with those people. They have no idea. Even worse than that, speaking of LinkedIn, I have met enough students who have never heard of LinkedIn. I mean, just like a few weeks ago, I give a training for a high school, and I was like, oh, you guys need to be active on LinkedIn. Those are high school graduates, and they are getting ready to go to college or look for jobs. I was like, you need to be on LinkedIn. And they look at me as if I were speaking Chinese, like, LinkedIn, what is that? So it's a big myth. It's a big misperception that we think because they grow up with technology, they know everything about technology. It is definitely not true. It is a learned skill. Digital literacy is a learned skill. And so I mentioned LinkedIn Learning, and they talk about the same thing. So on their article, and they listed soft skills and hard skills. And under hard skills, they listed important hard skills such as our ability to use social media, to engage in content creation, to market our skills, to market our talents. We are in today's show me economy, right? Show me what you know. Show me what you have done. Not just, tell me a piece of paper or a resume. I don't even remember the last time someone asked for a copy of my resume. I don't remember. But so many people, they come to me, they ask me to do consulting or speaking. They have checked out my LinkedIn profile. That's how powerful this is. And so students, they need to know how to write for digital media, social media, and how to talk to the camera, and how to build their digital footprint. Okay, so I want to share this with you. And so here is another really powerful chart I want to share with you. So let me go to my screen. And so how many of you know this? OECD. Let me have some water. So this is called the OECD Future of Education and Skills for 2030. Okay, we're already talking about the next decade. So if you, this is really powerful. So on this, they listed a number of like soft skills and core knowledge competencies that you need to pay attention to. So under their core foundations, you can actually click on this and look. They talk about digital literacy and data literacy. Okay, so to illustrate my point, digital natives does not mean digitally savvy. If you want to help your children, if you want to help your students become digitally savvy, they understand how to use tools, technologies to prepare them for the future. This is a learned skill. Someone has to teach them. Someone has to train them. And here is also another big misperception, and many people, including educators and school leaders that I work with and parents, they think that social media is so bad, right? It's all evil and this and that. So many of them actually ban social media, and at schools or at home, there's no access to social media. I think that is another extreme, and it's not working. Guess what? Social media is not going to go away. It's not. We are entering today's gig economy. And people, I have multiple streams of income. I have multiple jobs. I don't just do one thing, which is running my school. I also do quite a few things. And I need my digital literacy to help me find those opportunities and to help others discover me. And so if you are banning social media, if you are not teaching your children or students how to learn, how to use those skills, they are only going to become a victim, because in their mind, social media is so bad and they haven't learned how to leverage it as a tool to improve their life, to improve their career. If they haven't learned that, they are mainly using social media as a way to be entertained, to passively consume content. If that is the case, they are going to become a victim. And so many students have had that happen, which is really unfortunate. So that's my my third secret. And I'm going to share number 4. Supposed to be online. Online learning is not the magic pill to today's education crisis. Let me remove this. Thank you for being here. And online learning is not the magic pill to today's education crisis. And do you know the completion rate for online classes is actually as low as 15%, 1-5, and many students, and they really struggle with completing online classes. And I don't know about you guys, and I love learning, and I have purchased quite a few online classes. Guess what happened? I never completed any of the online classes I purchased. And as I mentioned this earlier, most online classes, sometimes people don't even do video, and most online classes are a bunch of pre-recorded video. They do not work. Learning is a high-touch human emotional labor, and you need a team, you need a community, you need a hand-holding to digest information so that you can do more application. And most people, even now, I see this, many schools, they treat online learning as they make everything online and they call that digital learning. That is not digital learning. Digital learning, you need a system to make this work. If you are only giving people information, that is only information acquisition. Is that learning? No. Information acquisition, short-term memory. And we are talking about future readiness, that is like transformational learning. Online learning does not lead to transformational learning, does not lead to a transformational experience. And in fact, I think 2 or 3 years ago, there is a professor at Harvard University, and I love his work. He's an education futurist, and he predicted that 50%, 50% of American colleges and universities will go bankrupt in the next 10 to 15 years. And I think coronavirus has definitely accelerated that. But that's not the point I'm sharing this article. So in that article, he said that the reason that led to so many schools bankruptcy is because of the popularity of online learning. But also in the article, he made a very compelling point. He said that online learning is not going to replace the important role of a human being. How powerful is that? And he also mentioned, in the same article that many schools, and so they have to do research to try to understand why do alumni donate to a particular school. And they discovered that the reason that many alumni donate to Stanford, to like Harvard, to all those Ivy League schools is not because of the overall ranking of the school. It's actually because of the impact that one professor has made on a student's life. Okay, so what I'm talking about here right now is to show that learning is an emotional journey. You want to have that personal connection with the teacher, and that technology by itself is not going to transform a learner's learning. Okay, but the human being behind the technology is what contributes to a life-changing transformational educational experience. Okay, not technology, but the human behind the technology. So what do I think is the future? Not just online learning, but actually hybrid, blended learning. You have the digital, you also have the human. And I love online learning because you can pause, you can go back, you can watch as many times. It's really personal, but that is not enough. You also need a human component. And I hope this point is clear to you. And the last secret is so the traditional education model is really the sage on the stage, right? Hey, I'm the teacher. I have my PhD. I have this and that. I have all the degrees, certifications. You need to listen to me. And what I'm telling you is this model is broken. The traditional sage on the stage is broken. Sage on the stage model is broken. And this is how we disrupt this model at Classroom Without Walls. And I think every school should embrace a more disruptive model when it comes to sage on the stage. And because this is really the old school way of teaching and learning. And if you actually, if you just Google right now, like classroom 100 years ago, and then you Google classroom in the 21st century, not much has been changed. And a big difference, black and white picture versus today's color picture. That's about it. And so this is how we disrupt this model at Classroom Without Walls. And the first one is to really reposition the teacher from being the sage to a facilitator. And we don't know anything. We don't know everything. We come here, we facilitate. And that's what I do with my own children, with homeschooling. And every day when my 8-year-old asks me, he actually has just started selling on eBay. and he already made $50, and which is really really amazing. And so when he asked me questions like, "Hey, mom, how do I sell on eBay?" What I tell him is, you know what, Aiden, I don't know. Let's figure this out. I facilitate. I ask good questions. I give him a computer. I show him this is Google, and this is you can Google, you can search, you can figure things out on your own. I don't come here, hey, I'm the expert. I know how to sell on eBay. I know everything, and listen to me. That is the wrong approach. If you do that on a regular basis, guess what's going to happen? You are going to take away your children's intrinsic desire to learn. Okay? Learning has to be purpose driven. Learning is an inside out journey. And if you, as a parent, the only thing you are telling your children, hey, mommy knows everything. If you don't know anything, come ask me. I can help you figure it out. And don't do that. That is really damaging to your children. And you are taking away their agency to learn. Okay? And you don't want to do that. If you want your children to become a lifelong learner, you have to show up as a coach, as a facilitator. Okay? Do not show up as a dictator. Okay? Show up as a facilitator. Trust me, I'm speaking this from experience as an educator, as a teacher, and as a mom. If you show up always as a dictator, your children are not going to be future ready. They will be past ready. They will be ready for history. They are not going to be ready for the future. Okay, so that is one way that we disrupt this old model, and you should do the same. At your school, at your classroom, and at home. And the second one that we disrupt this sage on the stage model is to co-create and co-own. And what I mean by that is, when you think about teaching and learning, and most people, most parents, and most students, they think that, oh, if I want to learn something, I just need to go to school. They think school and a classroom is the only place they learn about something, right? So the new model is that you actually create a learning space that is co-owned by teachers, by the students, and the big missing piece is practitioner. Okay, professionals need to own or co-own this learning space. And think about this. How many students are learning how to run a business, how to start a business, right? By taking a class from a professor who has never run a business before. And even they have started a few businesses here and there, but now they're teaching in the classroom. I don't even think that is relevant. Some of you are going to hate me for saying this because everything changes on a daily basis. And I use social media. I teach social media classes, and I'm telling you, social media changes on an hourly basis, right? For example, Facebook, the algorithm on Facebook changes on an hourly basis. So you go take a lunch break. After your lunch break, it's different, right? So how can you learn from only academics? I mean, it's important. You need to know the theories, the foundation, but also you need to learn from practitioners. Okay, I can't say this enough. Practitioners. We need more practitioners to be in the learning space. And I have improved so much my teaching, my life, how I teach my children, and how I teach students at Classroom Without Walls after I became a practitioner, right? So this space needs to be co-owned and co-created by not only teachers, but actually practitioners, right? The best way for you to learn social media marketing is actually to learn from someone who is actually practicing social media marketing. The best way for you to learn how to run a business is actually from someone who is actually practicing how to run a business right now. I'm not talking about 10 years ago, but right now. The best way for you to learn how to do copywriting is actually learning from someone who's doing copywriting in 2020. Not in 2010, but in 2020. Okay, I can go on and on, but I hope you got my point. And the last one is is to upskill, to invest in yourself. Okay, for teachers, I mentioned that earlier. We have, like for me, I have my doctorate, right? Dr. I spent years to earn that doctorate degree, and we call that terminal degree, which is true. After a PhD, there's no additional degree that you can earn. And I think that is wrong. We're sending people a wrong message. No degree should be terminal. No degree should be terminal, right? We are all lifelong learning. So if you are a teacher or if you are a parent, you think that you don't have to invest in education, educating yourself, you are absolutely wrong. You are going to be hit. You are not future-proofing your children. If you want to future-proof your own child, guess what? You have to future-proof yourself. Okay? So if you want to help your children become future ready, you at least have to understand what is going on. That's why at my school, Classroom Without Walls, we have a separate section of knowledge, books, articles, activities, assessment for the parents. Parents, oftentimes, don't hate me for saying this, you are the barrier to your children's future readiness because you are still using the same old way to educate the next generation. And very few parents actually learn how to be a good parent by taking a class, going to a school, or reading books. We all learn, including myself, we all learn how to be a parent from our parents. And can I get an amen on this? We all know how damaging the old approach is, right? Like I have 2 children myself. I have to do so much unlearning in terms of the old way that my parents educated me. I have to unlearn that part. So if you want to help your children become ready for the future, listen, first, you need to be ready for the future yourself. You need to learn the trends. Like so far I shared 5 secrets with you already. You need to understand what is going on. Join a program, reading books, and understanding this will really help you make a big difference, okay? So, kind of to summarize point number 5, sit on the stage model is broken. Show up as a facilitator, not a dictator, okay? That does not work. And also, stop doing this. Stop doing reward and punishment. Reward and punishment does not work. Okay? Can I repeat that again? Reward, punishment does not work. And what you are doing is you are training your children, just like how we train a dog, to learn, not for the sake of learning, but to learn to either gain that reward, an ice cream, $5, or to avoid the punishment. Okay? So if you do that for a year or 5 years, you are taking away your children's inborn, innate, intrinsic desire to learn. Okay? So I'm going to finish and wrap it up here. So those are the 5 secrets. And those 5 secrets I just shared with you are actually based on a solid body of research, my experience as a consultant, as a speaker, as an educator, as an entrepreneur, after working with more than 2,000 students. It's not just from me, and also all the knowledge that I have shared. So based on all of that, and I created a model, I finally cracked the code on future-proof our children, on future-proof the next generation. And I'm about to share this model with you. Feel free to take a screenshot. And if you want my workbook, make sure you enter workbook in the comment section. So let me share my screen again. So, okay, this is what I will share with you now. I mentioned earlier, and you can see why online learning, right? This is literally a screenshot I took from one of my students who said that she had to drop every single online class because they wasn't engaged enough, okay? So remember what I said earlier, not online learning, but blended learning, the digital component, the human component, okay? So this is the model, okay? This is the secret. Feel free to tag others and share with friends. And if you are thinking about helping your children become ready for the future, you need knowledge, you need life skills, you need mindset. Okay. So many parents, when they send their children like to school, and we all know that we have to supplement, right? Go to take different prep classes, and you take a piano class, you take a music class. And my message for you right now is that you need to take a class for your children and yourself to be ready for life. Okay, maybe a prep class for life. And if you want them to be future ready, you need the knowledge. And under knowledge, we have the traditional school-based learning and also new media knowledge, which I discussed earlier. Their ability to use social media to create and to share content, to market who they are, to showcase their skills and talent, storytelling and story selling. They also need life skills. Remember, EQ is 2 times more predictive than IQ of a person's success. Communication, emotional intelligence, and creativity. Last but not least is mindset. They have to master their mind, cultivating self-awareness, self-regulation, and more importantly, have an entrepreneurial mindset, have a growth mindset if they want to be future ready. Guess what? Today's information is going to be tomorrow's misinformation. And if you always have that fixed mindset, you are not going to flourish in the 21st century where disruption happens on a daily basis. Okay, so this model works, but just in case you don't believe me yet, like I don't think this model actually works. I think knowledge, for example, is going to be enough. So here are a few quick testimonials from parents and students who joined my program. So at Classroom Without Walls, we actually follow a blended learning model. We have online learning. We do all the teaching live, not just me, but we have a team of world-class trainers, professionals to teach. This is my dear friend, Jeff Hunter, and he spoke at my in-person event, right? So we do a blended learning. We have online learning. We also have in-person event. And you can see how much literally cried, see the transformation in the children. And this student learned more in 10 days than 2 years. Oh, that made me feel so fulfilled. And another testimonial from a kid. And what I'm trying to share with you is that this model, this iceberg model I just shared with you earlier, works really, really well. You teach them knowledge, but you also teach them life skills. You also work on their mindset. You don't just be the teacher. You show up as a facilitator. You also invite industry professionals to co-own, to co-teach. And here's a parent who actually cried through the experience. Okay, so I have something really exciting to share with you, parents. If you are still with me right now, and if you are interested in joining the program, or remember we have a section under my program for the parents and to upskill your knowledge as a parent. So if you are interested in the program, this is application only. We don't take any kid. And if you are interested, please feel free to comment. Interested in my program, I'm going to reach out to you earlier after the show to have a one-on-one conversation with you to see if we are the right fit for each other. So here are the 3 promises that we offer to the parents. We are going to give your kid a personalized blueprint for success. That's number 1. Transforming your children from feeling lost and confused to confident and purpose-driven. Number 2, to upskill your children to have important 21st century soft and life skills to flourish in any work environment, including online. And number 3 is to really give them this competitive edge to transform their social media addiction into a constructive learning, brand building, career development, and life skill too. Okay. So if you are interested, let me know. And if not, no worries. If you do not want to future-proof your children, don't worry. So at least remember this quote. From Mark Twain is one of my favorite quotes. I have never let my schooling interfere with my education. Okay, so that's my key message for you. Education and schooling, they are totally different. I'm a lifelong learner. I value education. very, very much. But there's a big difference between schooling and education. Okay. So that's everything I have prepared for you for today. And I hope you benefited and enjoyed this training. And if you know parents, students who can benefit from this, please tag them in the comment section. And if you want a copy of my workbook, let me know workbook in the comment section. Thank you so much, everyone. Never stop learning and stay future ready. Thank you so much for staying online with me for an hour. Bye.